everyone, TPS Miner here. Welcome back to the TPS Miner channel. Today I wanted to go over using MSI Afterburner to overclock your GPUs. So I'm not going to, in this video, go through and actually overclock a GPU. I just wanted to go over some of the features and offer some tips and tricks that I've found over time using MSI Afterburner. So for those of you that have been following the channel, you do know that I use Hive OS for my mining rigs, but I do run a test bench, a Windows-based test bench, and the reason I do this is so I can use MSI Afterburner to find the optimal overclocks for my GPUs when I get a new GPU. It's also very helpful if you're changing from one algorithm to another to test the different overclocks. Not all algorithms are the same. So for example, ETH, if you're mining Ethereum, is going to require one set of overclocks that are most likely going to be more memory intensive versus say RavenCoin and the Cow algorithm that's going to require a bit more overall performance of both core clock and memory clock. So today again, just want to go over a couple of the tips and tricks for MSI Afterburner. You can download MSI Afterburner at the MSI website, msi.com. Download Afterburner. I'm not going to go through the download and installation today. Again, this video is focused just more on some tips and tricks. So I'm not mining right now, but I do have a 1066 gig card in my test bench. And I pulled this out of one of my rigs because I wanted to clean it. And I figured I would throw it in the test bench and walk through MSI Afterburner with you. Okay, the first thing, once you download and install MSI Afterburner, you're going to have a default skin on it. If you're looking at or watching different videos and your MSI Afterburner doesn't look like what you're seeing in the video, there is some properties here that you can open up under your settings on Afterburner, and user interface, you can change the skins. For the longest time, when I first started using Afterburner and I was watching other videos on YouTube, I was a bit confused because mine looked different and I thought maybe I was using the wrong thing, maybe I was using an older version. Turns out it was just a different skin. The skin I use and what I've found most folks use on YouTube is the Cyborg Afterburner skin, red. So again, you can change your skins to whatever you prefer. The features and functions are going to be the same. It's just what it looks like. So again, I use the red skin, the Cyborg skin. Okay, so what does MSI Afterburner allow us to do? It allows us to adjust the power limit. It allows us to adjust the core clock, the memory clock, and the fan speed. So these are your four levers that you're really going to be tinkering with when you're overclocking a GPU. So power limit, when you first get a GPU and you put it into your test bench, your stock settings are going to be 100% on your power limit, a 0 on your core clock, and a 0 on your memory clock, and your fan is going to be set to auto. This particular GPU has already been tuned to be able to run on the ETH algorithm, so for mining Ethereum. And once you start from the stock settings, what you're going to want to do first and foremost is adjust your power limit. So if you start up your miner, you're going to get a stable hash rate at those stock settings. And as you back off your power limit, you want to keep backing off your power limit until you see a change in performance. So let's say, for example, on this GT 1060 at stock settings, I'm getting 20 mega hash or 15 mega hash. And I back my power limit all the way down to 50%, and I'm still getting that same 15 mega hash. Well, that's great. That tells me I can run this this graphics card at stock settings minus, at a 50% power limit and still get the same performance. Once I've found a power limit that allows me to maintain the best performance, I'm going to run that power limit back up to 100%, and then I'm going to start adding memory clock. A memory clock offset. And I'm going to keep adding memory clock until I stop seeing an improvement in my performance, the amount of mega hash that I'm able to get on that algorithm. once I've got a comfortable memory clock that's stable, I'm going to run that back to 0, and then I'm going to start incrementing my core clock. And I'm going to increment that core clock again until I stop seeing an improvement. So what I've been able to do now is get the lowest amount of power consumption with the highest amount of memory clock offset and the highest core clock offset that will optimize the performance of my GPU. When I combine all of those settings together, then what I want to do is I want to start up the algorithm with, or the miner, with all three of those settings set, and I want to make sure that the algorithm will start without issue or without crashing. Now, I'm going to go ahead and start a miner, and there's one important thing that you're going to want to look for when you first start mining. And again, the performance of this is going to be rather poor because I am recording while I'm starting this miner. But you'll see this line, generating DAG. So what's going to happen is you're generating the DAG file for the algorithm on your GPU, and you want to make sure that that DAG generates without a CRC error. So a CRC is basically a checksum for the file. And you can see in this case, I see CRC, and this is the CRC that was calculated, and it matches the expected checksum. If this is not correct, you'll see a red exclamation point next to it. If you generate a DAG and get a CRC error, your overclocks are too high. Now, the algorithm is going to continue running, but you've got a bad file on your card. So you're going to want to stop the miner. You're going to want to adjust your overclock settings down and continue restarting the miner until it generates the algorithm or generates the DAG without an error. Okay, let's look at a couple other quick things in Afterburner. So next to or in between the power limit and the temperature limit, there's this chain. So what this does is allows you to link the power limit and the temperature limit together. I keep this linked. So you can click on this and break that link, and now you can change your power limit and it doesn't change your temperature limit. I prefer not to do that. If I have them linked and I change this to 60, you see my temperature limit increases with it. The more power you draw, the higher the temperature is going to be on your GPU. So it's best just to keep these linked. If you know what you're doing and you want to unlink them, that's your decision. I personally would not recommend it. Okay, the next thing, core clock. You do have the option to open up the voltage frequency curve editor. So let's go ahead and open this up. And what this is a chart of frequency. So this is your core clock frequency versus voltage. So if you know, for example, you want to lock your core clock at 2000 megahertz, go to the 2000 on your vertical axis and walk your way over to that value on the horizontal axis and select that block that is closest to what you want. So in this case, if we want 2000, let's keep walking, and we get to 2000, roughly, let's see, 1999, and I've already got this locked. 1999 is this block here, and if I press the L key, it will lock that core clock frequency and only use the amount of voltage required to achieve that frequency. So you can see here 962 millivolts will allow us to achieve a frequency of 1999. Okay, now I do have a core clock offset applied here. So if I set this to a 0 and go ahead and open up this again, let's unlock. Let's try this again. So 0, apply. Oops. 0, apply. And I open up my editor. I want to come back over here and I want to get that 1,999. I select that block. I hit the L to lock. And when I come back over into Afterburner and apply, then I see I've locked my clock at 1,999 megahertz with a 0 offset. Okay. So the next thing, startup. There is an icon here, apply at Windows Startup. So if I turn off my computer and I turn my computer back on when Windows starts up, it's going to apply these same settings back to this graphics card. This is very useful for making sure, again, on your test bench, you bring this this card back into the bench and you've got these settings applied at Windows Startup. Then you're going to get that lower power limit. You're going to get the core and the memory clocks that you want. But in the meantime, when that card boots up, it's going to boot to stock settings until these settings can be applied. So you need to be very mindful of that when you're sizing your power supplies, particularly on a test bench or any Windows mining rig. If you're not setting your, if you're using this to set your overclocks, it's best to take into consideration the full 100% power limit of your GPU when you're sizing your power supply. Don't overclock your GPUs to a lower power draw and then size your power supply accordingly, because there will be times when you could be drawing more power than what the power supply can handle. So the next thing I wanted to show you here is right now I do have 2 graphics cards. I have a 1060 in this rig and I also have a 1030. The 1030 I use just for video purposes. The 1060 I'm using, of course, for testing. There is an option to synchronize the settings for similar graphics cards. I recommend not using this. Again, every GPU is different and will not have the same overclocks. Now you may get lucky and you may have 2 that are similar. I do have some of the same cards that have very different overclock settings. So again, I don't recommend using this, but it is a feature that does exist within Afterburner. So if you want to overclock 3 cards at the same time, you can link them or synchronize them and apply the overclock settings at the same time. Okay, the last feature here on Afterburner that I think is quite great is the temperature plot. So while you're working on your overclocks, if you apply a setting that is going to start driving your temperature up, you're going to be able to see it here in real time in Afterburner. So again, just a nice added feature to have while you're doing your overclocks. Okay, I think those are the key features and functions of MSI Afterburner that I wanted to share with everyone today. I hope this video was helpful. I hope you learned a little something today. If you enjoyed this video, please give us a like. Go ahead and hit that thumbs up. And please consider subscribing to the channel. There will be more content coming with MSI Afterburner very soon. I do have a new graphics card that'll be coming in early next week, and I'm going to go through a full demonstration of how to use MSI Afterburner to overclock that GPU. So please stay tuned, hit that bell, and if you're subscribed, you'll get a notification when the new videos do come out. All right, thank you again for watching. Hope you have a great rest of your day, and we will see you soon.